What's up guys, Tommy Bowyer here from Movie Rewind, and today I will be talking about whether the Sony-Verse should really exist. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the Sony-Verse is basically the poor man's version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it has a lot of history. Now originally Sony decided that the Amazing Spider-Man films would be the kind of springboard for this massive cinematic universe which could rival with Marvel. The Amazing Spider-Man, its own solo film, no problem there. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, basically a trailer for the Sony Cinematic Universe. They were like, look, we've got Venom coming out, we've got a Sinister Six movie, we've got the Aunt May movie. Because everyone really wanted to see that, didn't they? And now look, we're not going to get into my feelings of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. All I'm going to say is The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is worse than the soup that Bruce made for me and Beefcake.
We're having dinner, Bruce. Thanks for dinner. This is nice.
Here it is, Bruce's famous secret recipe soup. Oh, this looks nice, my man. How was your day anyway?
This is fun.
Yeah. Alright, thanks Bruce. So as The Amazing Spider-Man 2 failed, basically Sony, very upset and devastated, decided to form a deal with Marvel so that Spider-Man could appear in the MCU. So there was actually talented people working with the character who understood what Spider-Man was about. Sony, pretty pissed off with this because Marvel continued to get all the credit for the now really good Spider-Man film starring Tom Holland, which we're getting, and everyone's kind of saying, Sony, just give the rights back to Marvel. However, Sony have decided that instead of giving the rights fully back to Marvel, they've decided that they're going to milk the Spider-Man franchise for everything it is worth by bringing out a series of spin-offs based on characters that appear in Spider-Man comics. Now, me personally speaking, I hate Sony. I think that while they were good for the Spider-Man character in the early days, you know, the original Spider-Man trilogy, you got two very good films there. In a modern context, Sony really are just trying to milk a franchise for all it's worth. I mean, Venom. Venom was average. The only good thing in Venom was Tom Hardy. And now they're bringing out Morbius, which looks alright at the moment. However, this is Sony, so who knows? It could end up being a piece of shit, which I wouldn't be surprised. Now, personally speaking, I would say Sony, give the rights back to Marvel because they have a much better understanding of what to do with the character. However, I know that all you care about Sony is money, so of course you're not going to give the rights back to Marvel because you make so much money out of it. On the other hand, I'm not saying that Sony fully don't understand Spider-Man. Of course, Into the Spider-Verse, a great, unique Spider-Man film, which I love. And that was in Sony's hands, so Sony can make good films. Surprisingly, they're better at making animated Spider-Man films than they are live-action Spider-Man films. However, look, Sony's never going to give the rights back to Marvel. It's just a bad business move. They never would. However, me personally, with all the fear-mongering going on that they were going to pull Spider-Man out of the MCU and they were going to make their own Spider-Man films again, if it was a contest between Sony being in charge of the spin-off films with Spider-Man villains and characters associated with Spider-Man, or Sony being in charge of the main Spider-Man franchise, I would rather them be in charge of the spin-offs. Now, while some of these spin-offs are just average, for instance, Venom was very average, although I am looking forward to Venom 2 because that's got Carnage in it, so Carnage is one of my favourite Spider-Man villains, so of course I'm looking forward to that. However, honestly, I think Sony, you're just making average spin-offs at the moment. I'd have to see what Morbius and Venom 2 are going to look like. I could be wrong. However, you seem to just be making spin-offs without any clear direction. You just kind of want to remind people that, look, we can make films which resemble Spider-Man and they make money. So, you know what, Sony? Make your spin-offs. I don't care. As long as you don't touch the main Spider-Man franchise, then that is perfectly fine with me. So in conclusion, Sony are just money grabbers who are just trying to milk Spider-Man for everything he has got. We're going to be left with a lot of mediocre spin-offs. However, if the main Spider-Man franchise with Tom Holland stays intact, then I personally have no problem with it. It's just one of those things where I'll probably watch the film and say, yeah, it was average. I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't buy the DVD, but you know what? It's average. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, do you prefer Spider-Man to be with Sony or the MCU? Because there are people out there that actually like Spider-Man being with Sony, and you know what? It doesn't matter. It's all down to opinion. There's not one definitive answer. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. And I will see you in another one. See ya!